Here we go. So today we are going to add or subtract fractions, right? So right off the bat, I'm not very good at typing, but another way to write this is really 4/5 plus 3/5. Okay, now if you're unsure on how fractions work, I like the pie analogy. If I have a pie and 4/5 of it's there, 1/5 got eaten, and then I have a second pie where 3/5 of it is still there. So I've got two pies with just parts of it, right? So if I wanted to put the pieces together, I know that my answer is going to be fifths. So I'm going to go ahead, common denominator is 5. 4 plus 3 is 7. Now before I go any further, please listen to this, okay? Watch. Ben, watch. When I have a common denominator, do not make this tense. Okay, it's 4/5 plus 3/5 makes 7/5. And if we can change that into 1 2/5, we will. All right. So the big key is this, and you need to know this because today we're going to do with x's. Fifths is our common denominator. If you want to do a diagram of this, you can. You can go ahead and take a look at a pie. Well, that's not very good. Now look at a diagram so it makes sense. If you happen to have a candy bar, and you've got 4/5 of it, and then you get another candy bar, and you've got 3/5 of it. When you add it together, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
that would
of the fifths.
On your second diagram, that would mean you have 2/4 of it.
Well,
It's a bad drawing.
yeah, it's bad drawing. There you go. Thanks, Ben. I'm glad you're paying attention. Okay. Now,
Yeah, but I'll play the blue.
when I add them, there's no tenths. Correct? There's just fifths, all right? All right, let's take a look at number 2. So number 2, I've got a 1/2 minus 1/3. Let's go back to 6th grade math. If you subtract fractions, you just need a common denominator, okay? So I'm going to change them both into sixths. One method is to multiply the two denominators. You can multiply them, but what I like to do is say, let's multiply this one by 2/2. And this one by 3/3. Okay, now this is just 6th grade math. We've done this before. But we need to do this in order to do it with x's. So if I add these two, I'm going to get 3/6 minus 2/6. And now I have a common denominator, okay? Think of it as a candy bar with 3 of the 6 pieces gone. And then we're going to take away 2/6. So we're only going to have 1/6 of a candy bar left. Okay, and you've done this. This is just 6th grade math. This is nothing new. We need to look at this before we put in the x's, okay? Okay, example 3. All right, 5/12 plus 5/6. Okay, now there's two ways to do it. One way is you can multiply 12 times 6 and make things in terms of 72s. But there's an easier way, isn't there? Another way to write this is 5 times 2 times 6. And I like doing it this way because it shows that in order to make a common denominator, I'd need to multiply this one by 2/2, so they'd be the same. So by changing 12 into 2 times 6, it looks pretty obvious why you'd multiply this by 2/2 to make them the same. So I'm going to multiply this by 2/2. And then I'm going to have a common denominator of a 5/12 plus a 10/12, which when I add them I get a 15/12. Now, there's more we can do. We can reduce this.
1 in 3/12.
Ah, you're very close. So if we reduce both by 3, we'll get a 5/3, right? 5/4. 5/4, or 1 1/4, right? Okay, now, when we do with x's, we'll do the same exact process, okay? So if I slide this over to example 4, and take a look at example 4, I need a common denominator. Chris, are you paying attention? I need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the second fraction by 2/2, which will give you a common denominator of 2x. I'll have a 3/2x plus an 8 over a 2x, right? Now, once they have a common denominator, you can add the numerators. So I'll get 11 over 2x. Okay, it's the same process except we do it with x's.
You have to reduce it.
It won't reduce. Well, you could make it 5. Well, no, you really can't reduce
So
it.
as an x of the denominator,
You can't. Nope. You can't really do it. You can reduce it, but we're not going to reduce it in the way that we want to, okay? All right, now, example 5. I'm going to multiply this fraction by 3y and this fraction by 4 to make them the same. They just have to be the same in the denominator. So I'll multiply this one by 3y over 3y and this one by 4 over 4. So that my common denominator is a 12y. So I'll have an 8x over 12y minus a 9xy over a 12y. Okay, once I get my common denominator, then I can combine them. But I really can't combine them because they're different. I have x's and I have xy's. So my answer is just going to be an 8x minus a 9xy over a 12y. I'd like to subtract them, but I can't because they're different. I'd like to go 9x. I'd like to take 8x minus 9xy, but I can't. They're different, so I'm done. That's all I can do with it. How am I doing? Okay?
you're really good.
Okay. Now example 6. Okay, and then we'll shift to your journal. But example 6 is a little bit bigger. Okay. So what I want to do is make a common denominator. But before I make a common denominator, I'm going to factor this. Okay? I'm going to factor the denominator. I'm going to factor this into an x plus 3 times another x plus 3. Okay, multiples of 9 that add up to 6. Okay? What I need to do is make them the same. This one has an x plus 3, x plus 3. This one needs another x plus 3. So I'm going to multiply it by an x plus 3 over an x plus 3. Okay? So then when I do that, my denominator really is the x plus 3. So I'm going to skip a step. I'm going to skip a step this time just to make it a little bit easier, a little less work. Since that's my denominator, I'm just going to write it down, okay? Now to simplify the numerator, I'm going to distribute. I'm going to get an x squared plus a 3x plus a 2x plus 6, okay? So I've got my common denominator. I simplified my numerator, but I recognize my numerator I'm not done yet. So I can go ahead and take it one more step. X squared plus, because I can add the 3x and the 2x, plus a 5x plus a 6 over an x plus 3 times an x plus 3. Okay, and then normally I'd be done. But sometimes you can reduce these as well. In this case, I can reduce it if I factor it. If I factor the numerator, I might be able to cancel and reduce. Well, the numerator will factor into an x plus 2x plus 3, and the denominator is still x plus 3, but by factoring the numerator,
You can cancel.
I can cancel. Colby?
There's a simpler way to do it because if you factor the numerator on the second one, you can just do it all.
Ah, you are right.
Girl, Colby.
You are
Bang.
right. Yeah.
Boy, I have to
Cancel,
make
cancel.
As a
Just
first
factor
number.
2x
Yep.
plus 6. You get 2x.
Yep. And I don't want to show that, but you're completely
this
correct.
up. Oh,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Thank you, Colby. The answer is yes, but I don't want to show that because I still want to show the common denominator, okay? Yeah, but totally correct, okay? Okay, take out your journal and let's take a look at your journal. Your journal's got some problems in it as well.